So one of the big misconceptions is that these are all troubled youth, that they have psychiatric disorders, that the problem is them, and that's just not the case. So I think it's that there's a stigma, and that often these kids feel stigmatized, and it can become a vicious circle.
From a foster child's perspective, and I grew up in foster care myself, it's a lot about survival. You know, we come into an environment and we think, what do we need to survive? Who are the people who are going to help us and hurt us? How are we going to make sure we take care of ourselves? So a lot of times when we come into an environment, it's not about exploration and learning and excitement. It's about, how do I establish my safety here right now? I would say every child from foster care is exposed to trauma. Regardless of whether they've been exposed to trauma prior to coming into foster care is a traumatizing experience for them. You know, to be ripped away from your family, your friends, your culture, your siblings, your school. I mean, all of that is part of your identity to be taken away from you.
I think the problem is confusing the challenging experiences with being a challenged individual, and they are not the same thing. But too often kids in foster care are seen as it's the same. The troubled experience or trauma they've experienced has then somehow damaged them as children. And that in itself creates a whole set of damaging experiences.
I feel like when he first came, our expectations of him were lower than a 5-year-old that you would meet.
We've had him for 1.5 years. He's normal developmentally and on track. So he's grown from that 22 to 24 month developmentally to 5.5 in a 1.5 years time. That's huge, and we've gotten to see that.
We really had to change our mindset from looking at him like a broken vessel to a vessel that was just waiting to be filled. I mean, he has a ton of potential, and that's what we've seen.
It is up to all of us in our community to change the way we think about foster children, which is that they're wonderful children.
I think it's kind of helpful as we think about all the challenges and the ways to help foster youth succeed, to realize they're just like every other kid. They have the same hopes, the same dreams, the same feelings, the same problems of childhood. They just don't often have the same life history that was supportive for them. But, you know, they're not very separate. Foster children are just like every other child.